I must have dozed off. These past few weeks have been delirious. With the sun all but ever absent, the shift from day to night is only defined by when our bodies ache too much, when the bruises on the chest and the rashes on the hands forces us to sleep. We long for Christmas. But here in Skellefteå, it's summer already. Through the clouds, the sun shines over a city of 200 million points. It's all a figment of reality, projected on our imaginations. We imagined a train station, rooted in the concept of poché, but the scope of our ambitions was tethered by convention and deadline. With 1 week left until final review, we were given one last opportunity to redefine a small portion of the project, and we took it, to refocus on our primary focal points, poché. Thus, we will communicate our project for the Skellefteå Train Station through the final design of the ticket office. Looking north from the central plaza, upwards Trädgårdsgatan, we can already get a glimpse of the Skellefteå Train Station ticket office. The stated purpose of the project is to reflect the multitude of aspects of architectural poché. Poché is a concept rich in interpretations, shifting through time, always issued, in one way or another, with the relationship between primary and secondary space. We will now describe the different aspects of poché that we have come in contact with within the scope of this semester.
1. A texture to diminish the visual acuity of the secondary space, to promote the perception of the primary space. Thus, we painted the walls of the primary quadrilateral space in a white hue and the walls of the carved out secondary space in a black hue. 2. A texture to represent cuts through solid volumes to accentuate the space between the walls. Thus, we covered the surface of the sectional cuts in a highly reflective material, accentuating the reflecting space. 3. The relationship an occluded service space has to the open space. Thus, the bathroom is in an occluded niche. 4. The relationship between void and matter when a space is constructed within the thick walls of a building. Thus, we made an attempt to construct a semi-occluded spiral staircase, carved out from the massive thickness of the wall. The entry is curved to occlude its destination, and the spiral staircase itself, painted in the same black hue to allude to the same textural aspect of poché as the space it constructs, leads to nothing else than another secondary space. A vantage point on a tiny balcony. Five. The relationship between a space and an observer, when the space is indirectly perceived as a space beyond space. We added the gesims to accentuate this. 6. The relationship a residual space has to the dominant space it conforms to, the quadrilateral primary space and the curvilinear space of the facade are the two dominant spaces which shape the bounds of the residual space. The forms of the primary spatial systems are in some areas conflicting, allowing for poché spaces to be constructed where the distance between the two primary spaces allow it. 7. The relationship a dissolved space has to the space it dissolves into. Thus, the tiles of the horizontal steps align orthographically with the tiles pattern of the ground, dissolving as one, and the vertical steps, as well as the sectional cuts, are clad in the highly reflective material, dissolving as separate. 8th and final aspect, the relationship the so-called data shadow has to the space of registerable surfaces. All reflective surfaces will confuse scanning softwares trying to reconstruct them as a part of a coherent space. With the ticket office being partially covered in a highly reflective material, making some edges hard to read, the perception of the space itself will be highly dependent on the human presence, and will not without conflict be mediated by scanning techniques. This concludes our presentation of how the multitude of aspects of Poche have shaped our project. While it may be argued whether the project successfully embodies all aspects or not, it has been a fruitful, although cumbersome, endeavor for us to attempt. We will now spatially explore in a planar section how the spaces of the structure is formed. The ticket office is a massive concrete structure, owing to its partial denial of the pragmatic offset in favor of the diverging swelling, allowing for poché spaces to be carved out. Although massive in terms of solidness, its interior quadrilateral space is humble, measuring only 5.5 meters across and 15 meters at its longest. Including the poché space, its interior area is just about 100 square meters, with a building footprint of about 300 square meters, much is sacrificed in the name of Poche. The spatial system of the facade has its roots in the so-called housing marks, or bomärken, of the region. The housing marks contributing to the shaping of the buildings are all from the neighboring village, Gagmarksby, while the housing marks contributing to the tiles pattern is from the whole of Northern Europe. In place of a modern signature, a housing mark was attached to the architectural property associated with it and inherited alongside it, and we saw it fitting to project housing marks so as to define cut and non-cut sections of the facade. We hope that the project may entice discussion at Poche level or any other one. Thank you for your time.